Kevin, a quick last word.
Oh, wow.
Which I'm not sure.
My last word is, you're all nuts. Like, that's just...
Oh, my God.
Thank you, Kevin.
Guys,
am I in on that? Okay.
look, we got to keep it together here, okay?
We are. Too
late.
Honestly, I mean, there's a way to talk about these things. If you don't have anything to say, just say that, and I won't come to you next time.
Important.
You don't
All
have
right,
basic
next
information,
for us,
Kevin.
everyone.
You don't know who's running for
Everyone,
the Senate
thank
in
you
Texas.
for being here.
That was a stretch. It was
Next,
insane.
excuse me.
A shovel.
Excuse
to the
me.
ballots?
Stop.
What's the shovel?
Kevin,
Speak
stop.
The federal government lies.
Next for us.
For so long, many of us have been wondering how people like Scott Jennings and Kevin O'Leary have the patience to deal with these fools over on CNN. Well, as you saw, Kevin O'Leary has finally had it with all of them, so it'll be interesting to see whether Abby Phillip decides to invite him back onto her show. Now, the reason this went off the rails was because they started talking about the SAVE Act and about election integrity, but it was a really contentious episode up until that point. In fact, Kevin O'Leary kicked off the hour by making fun of AOC's absolute faceplant in Munich. This is absolute comedy gold. Take a look.
Listen, she's not a foreign policy expert.
Clearly.
And so, no, she's not.
Clearly.
She's not.
You don't say. Yeah. Come on, give her a break.
You guys, this is
You don't even know who's running in Texas,
exhausting.
okay? So
You're
there's a ton of
exhausting.
things
You
you
don't
don't
know,
know.
Kevin.
Stop being so condescending.
For 5 seconds, let somebody finish their thoughts before you have to
I
be
would like to
rude.
see how you would be able to answer that. Look, I think that it takes a lot of courage, and I think for her to be expanding her message, for her to be expanding her areas of policy interest are a good thing. She is one of 435 members of Congress. There's a lot of them there that don't come with a breadth of foreign policy knowledge.
You're right. She was fabulous.
It's not about her being fabulous. It wasn't.
Say something here.
It wasn't about
Let's
her
say
being
you're hired to give a speech. Let's say you're
Kevin O'Leary is 100% right to be laying into AOC as hard as he is, because keep in mind, this was the Munich Security Conference. The point he was about to make, and it's a great point, is usually at a conference, you go there to hear the experts speak. You go there to hear thought leaders, to learn something new. You want to hear something thought-provoking. You don't want someone who has no experience and is trying to boost their resume, boost their political ambitions. And so for AOC to stumble like that on the world stage is really important, because it's clear she's doing this because she's eyeing a 2028 presidential run, but the left is going to do what they do, and that's cry racism, cry sexism. Instead of actually debating whether or not AOC has the foreign policy chops it takes to be commander-in-chief, they started accusing Kevin O'Leary of being sexist. This is how Leigh McGowan attempted to defend AOC.
You're not cracking up when the woman's laughing. You're mocking her. You're saying she's
I'm
uneducated.
cracking up
You're
when I
saying
see
she's
her
stupid.
because
And
she's
then you're
not even
comparing her
forming
to the
sentences.
then you're comparing her to the
She's not
other
even forming
strong
sentences.
woman
She's
who
not
ran.
giving like a wrong
It's
fact
hilarious
or
when men make a
ruling
gaffe.
her. She's
But when
not
women make
here
a
to
gaffe, they're
support you.
monsters that should never be invited back.
Thank
You know what one of the differences?
I don't think anyone thought it was hilarious when Joe Biden messed up at the presidential debate. I think most people were horrified. Not only horrified that he was running again, but horrified that at the time he was president. He was the leader of the free world. It's a blessing. It's a miracle that there were no crises that really faced the country at that time. Of course, there was the crisis at the southern border, but I'm talking about wars or terrorist attacks. Had any of that happened under Joe Biden, who knows who would have been in charge? So this isn't a sexism thing. Whenever politicians make gaffes, people on both sides frequently and correctly, with good reason, point out those flaws. Our leaders should be held to a higher standard. Since when did that become a bad thing? Also, I'd like to go back to the counter that Ana Navarro made towards Kevin O'Leary. She said, well, Kevin, how would you have answered that question on the world stage? Well, Anna, Kevin is not a congressperson. Guess what? He's also not running to be president of the United States. He's not even eligible to do so because, if I'm not mistaken, he was born in Canada. So quite frankly, he would not have been asked that question. And even if he was asked that hypothetical, who would care? Because he wouldn't have any say over U.S. foreign policy. So that just wasn't even a good equivalence there. Now, there's new information. In a previous video, I talked about how AOC went crying to the New York Times. Well, there's new information about that article. So it turns out, according to Kellen Browning, AOC came to Munich to warn about the far-right coverage focused on 2028 and verbal mishaps. She gave me a call. Now, keep in mind, the framing of this article, take a look at that preview. After a trip to Germany, AOC expresses frustration. So the New York Times coverage wasn't on how she was unprepared, how she messed up, how she has apparently no doctrine. There is no AOC doctrine. No, the coverage wasn't on her foreign policy credentials or lack thereof. The coverage from the New York Times was, oh, she's frustrated with how the media and how social media has covered her gaffes. And the key line there is she called me. She called the media to write that story. The Democrats like to accuse President Trump of censorship. They claim that, he's shutting down free speech and he's attacking the press. Meanwhile, the Democrats have this entire propaganda machine called the mainstream media. It's terrifying to think a politician like AOC can call up a reporter and generate their own headline without the public knowing. Thankfully, there's a solution for this: Ground News. They're a website and an app on a mission to give readers an easy, data-driven, objective way to read the news. Every day, they pull in thousands of articles from around the world and organize them based on story. And each story comes with a visual breakdown on things like political bias, reliability, and ownership. Let me show you how it works. Here's a story about the Rhode Island mass shooting at a high school hockey game. Right away, you can see that 123 news outlets reported on it. Below that, you can see that the story is getting slightly more attention from the right, and below that, you can see who owns these outlets and how reliable the reporting is. But my favorite thing to do is compare the headlines to see how these biases affect the framing. On the left, you have outlets focusing on the Good Samaritan stopping the shooting, while on the right, they're highlighting the fact that this is a trans man who threatened to go berserk the day before. It's neat because it helps you understand how both sides can look at the same story, yet come to wildly different conclusions. I especially like their blind spot feed, which highlights stories that are disproportionately covered by one side of the political spectrum. Like this story about Chuck Schumer filing legislation for the pride flag to have the exact same federal protections as the American flag. Hardly anyone on the left has covered this at all. Ground News is one of the first places I check when I'm looking for a story to make a video. I love that I get to track the news as well as media bias all at the same time. And best of all, I'm giving my viewers 40% off their Vantage plan, which is what I use and includes access to all of their incredible features. This discount is only available through my link, so go to ground.news/SOD, use the QR code here on screen, or click the link in the description to get started for under $5 a month and support an independent news platform working to make the media landscape more transparent. Next, they started talking about Zoran Mamdani and how, after just 45 days, he's already running New York City into the ground. Well, Kevin O'Leary decided to turn this into a punchline, and he joked that he would give Mamdani an award, a medal, basically because he's running businesses and he's running people out of New York City into Florida. Take a look.
So, I guess he's asking, what's a 2% tax increase on a multimillionaire?
If you're already the highest tax jurisdiction in America, it's a massive tax. You know, what I love about this guy, and I'm giving him credit, he goes big. He goes big, and he's got a fantastic social media team. This is great. This is bat poo-poo crazy, what he is proposing. And probably sometime next year, within 12 to 18 months, I will meet him in Miami and give him Real Estate Agent of the Year award. Because I'm not happy with what's happening. I can't get across the bridge anymore. I live in Miami Beach. Everybody from New York and New Jersey and Massachusetts is moving into my neighborhood. I'm pissed off. And this guy's just doing more of it. What he's proposing is beyond insane, but I love it.
You are
now,
very
I'm like
dramatic.
everybody else. Listen, you guys live here. You're not paying your fair share.
I don't live here.
You've got to pay 110%. That's the right thing to do. Because he's not cutting spending.
No, but
he's just going to tax you into oblivion.
In case you missed my previous video or you haven't seen this, Zoran Mamdani basically unveiled his new proposal for New York City. He wants to increase the city's budget by $11 billion, and of course he doesn't have the money to do that. So what does he want to do? He wants to raid the rainy day fund, which of course is meant for emergencies. He also wants to take money out from senior pensions. But on top of that, he wants to raise taxes not on the billionaires, not on the millionaires, but on the middle class. He outlined all of this. So obviously a lot of people are very upset about that. And to make matters worse, he talked about where that money would go to. Over $1 billion, maybe $2.4 billion, if I'm remembering correctly off the top of my mind, towards migrant housing, food for migrants, illegal immigrants. And like it keeps going on and on. Well, there is actually more information today that just keeps making the situation worse. According to Yahoo News, Mamdani proposes cutting New York City's City's police department budget, canceling 5,000 new officer hires. So you're going to have this influx of migrants. Crime is already sky high in New York, and now they were set to hire 5,000 officers. That was already approved and budgeted for under Mayor Adams, and now this plan could go bye-bye. I don't think New Yorkers are going to be very happy about that. And don't forget, while Mamdani is screwing the police department over, he gets his own private security and he has his own gated mayor's mansion, so things are really nice for him. Now, where the conversation really went off the rails is when they started talking about the SAVE Act and election security, and Kevin O'Leary just made some brilliant points about how the U.S. is actually behind a lot of first world countries.
This narrative, it has to be bipartisan by every metric. Every 24 months, we go through this debate over and over again. When every country in the Nordic countries in Europe, France, Switzerland, Canada, Australia, solved this problem decades ago. A, you got to be a citizen to vote. You got to prove it. We all agree at the table on that one. Number two, there's such advancement in technology to make sure there's no cheating. We should implement it here and get all this crapola over with. It's getting almost boring every 24 months. Oh, the election's rigged. Oh, this guy's doing this guy's doing that. No other country has this narrative. Nobody.
And after he made that point, the panel just exploded into shouting. They were all talking over each other. And Anna Navarro, she tossed over a few jabs towards O'Leary. And that's what led to what we saw at the top of this video, where he said, hey, you guys are all nuts. And that's basically how they ended the entire show. He really lost. He lost it. I don't blame him at all, because they are a bunch of lunatics. They're radicals. And Abby Phillip, time and time again, she tries to be poised and professional, but really she's just a biased hack, and she's not very good at hiding her true colors here. And so I don't blame Kevin O'Leary for getting frustrated in all of this. So what's really hypocritical when it comes to the SAVE Act and when it comes to election security is that the Democrats spent 8 years saying that the election was rigged and stolen from them. Take a look. This is Hillary Clinton saying that President Trump's lawful, legitimate 2016 win was stolen from her. Not my words, her words.
I think it's also critical to understand that, as I've been telling candidates who have come to see me, you can run the best campaign, you can even become the nominee, and you can have the election stolen from you.
You can have the election stolen from you? Does that make her an election denier? Remember that phrase when they called all of us election deniers as if it's some sort of insult? And of course, that's not even getting into the Russia hoax that they perpetrated forever.
I mean, if you're going to let Russia get away with what they did and are still doing, according to Christopher Wray, the current FBI director who said that last week, they're in our election systems. We're worried about 2020, he said. So, hey, let's have a great power contest, and let's get the Chinese in on the side of somebody else.
You would think that after complaining about Russia and China and having the election stolen from Hillary Clinton, the Democrats would be all in favor for voter ID and making sure that only legitimate American citizens can vote. But no, they're claiming that this is racist. No, they're claiming that somehow Trump is trying to steal the election, when I don't even see how you could do that with the SAVE Act, especially since this wouldn't make the federal government in charge of the elections. The states would still be in charge, as is constitutionally mandated. Well, there is actually really bad news for the Democrats when it comes to the midterms. The, conventional thinking is that the party out of power has the advantage. But there is new polling showing that, hey, the blue wave might not be what everyone thinks it's going to be. But before we get to that, I would like to acknowledge the member of today's Governor's Club. It is Judy Jameson. Thank you so much. The Governor's Club, these are people who give tips and super thanks to the channel. I'm glad that you enjoy, and I'm glad that you're here. And it is nice to meet you, Judy. Thank you for being here. Well, Harry Enton is one of my favorite pollsters. I think he actually tries to be fair about it. I love how he's enthusiastic about the data, and he doesn't cherry pick polls in terms of trying to fulfill a narrative. I think he really tries to put out there what he believes is the truth, and this is not good news for the Democrats right now.
Electoral races nationwide should stand as a wake-up call for Democrats, because take a look here. The race raiders, governors post-2026 election, at least tilting to the Republicans. Look at this. A majority, 26. That is at this point the number of governors that are expected, at least tilting towards the Republican Party at this point. Democrats come in at just 20. The rest of the races are toss-up. Of course, you sum up to 50. And I will note that the Republicans right now hold a 26 to 24 gubernatorial seat advantage. So at this point, it doesn't look like Republicans on the net and the aggregate are actually going to lose any governorships. In fact, when you add in those toss-ups, they may gain. So this should stand as a major wake-up call to Democrats, because if there's a wave building, it has not, at least at this point, hit the state level when it comes to governorships.
Yeah, and usually when we talk about tickets, especially on the presidential level, there's usually the top-down effect, right? Where people vote for the president and they vote straight ticket down the ballot. And that might happen here. If people vote for a Republican governor, why wouldn't they vote for a Republican representative or senator? And so that is a warning sign for the Democrats. As always, though, all of this is just my analysis and commentary. That's what's happening in the world of politics from my point of view, and I would love to hear from you. So, prediction time. Do you think Kevin O'Leary will be invited back to Abby Phillip's program on CNN? Or do you think he will be blacklisted for losing his cool during this episode? Let me know your predictions on that down below. Personally, I hope he's invited back. I think CNN viewers need his perspective, as well as Scott Jennings. But given how snappy Abby Phillip was right there at the very end, I don't know if he will be. So we'll see. But let me know your predictions down in the comments. If you haven't already, please be sure to leave me a thumbs up. I know it's a simple thing to ask for, but it really does help me reach more viewers like you in the algorithm. Be sure to smash that subscribe button and to check out one of these videos.